you alone who can understand what the issue is. And then you actually talk to other people to have more clarity on that issue. And I think that would be the first step of prevention, in addition to all the other kind of stages that I mentioned.
Very interesting. Thank you so much for sharing that. And so important, isn't it? Self-introspection. And that is where these awareness sessions actually help to be more conscious. You mentioned about art, music, and this is a kind of a general feeling that, yeah, art, music, dance, or any form of art actually helps with the mental health. And I know as part of your research, you have done a lot of field work around drama and art. So any comment on that? How was your experience doing the field work? What kind of work did you do, and did it actually help people with mental health issues with the field work that you did?
It's about helping people to understand or getting more clarity on what people actually go through. And I think art, especially theatre, music or films, any of those things could actually help. What we have actually done is to enable people to talk about it. Because mental illness is a huge stigma around it. As Dr. Nandini mentioned as well earlier on, there's a huge stigma. Nobody wants to talk about it. Everybody actually puts a lid on it and saying that this is not me. And nobody in my family has got any mental health issue. Or my friends don't actually have a mental health issue. There was some mention about employers, and employers are not very friendly in relation to somebody who might actually have a slight anxiety or depression. So I think it is important that we actually use some of those creative methodologies to help people understand what they're actually going through. Some of the things that we have actually done is a kind of resilience project in internal migrant communities in Pune, where people from villages actually travel to the towns and cities in terms of employment. And in terms of that journey of migration, how is it that they create resilience in the midst of adversities? Because they don't have a home, they're actually on a daily wages, and they might not even have the family, they might be dependent on many other things as well. So how is it that you create that well-being and happiness in those things? And we use theatre as a means of actually telling their own stories back to them and enabling them to actually communicate back to us, so that they're actually able to tell their own stories through a second person, through a different media. And I think that's very, very much helpful in those communities. There's also another concept such as called mental health literacy. Mental health literacy is not just mental health awareness. Mental health literacy is actually about understanding the conditions, what Dr. Nandini actually mentioned, and having a good understanding of those conditions, and about what are the self-help measures which I myself and many other people may have talked about, what is it that they are, and how is it that we can actually seek professional help in relation to it. And how do we eradicate the stigma around mental illness? And how do we actually find the right kind of information about, for help seeking? And also about, how does culture, spirituality actually shape up the dimension of understanding around those things. So we did such a project in the southernmost state in India, in a place called Kerala, where we used theatre, and we used films to collect the stories from people from urban communities, rural communities, and tribal communities, and to try and find out, what is it that the Indian context, what does mental health literacy actually mean? Because mental health literacy is a Western concept. And we don't want to actually put the same concept into the Indian context, just because, sorry for using my terminology, but I think just because we don't want to actually take the Western psychological or psychiatric concept of the Indian context and see that this is that actually works there. So we wanted to try and understand what is it that they think mental illness is, what is it that the family think mental illness is, what is it that the neighborhood actually thinks mental illness is. And we use theatre